What's up, guys? We're gonna real beats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to sample. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post on, just do so because there's a bit of light. Let's hop right into it. So first things first, I'm gonna just try to keep everything straightforward and simple, and I will be linking this. I'm not sure if it's 100% copyright free, but it said it was. So I wanted to choose a sample that was super simple and that had like clear transients for this. So we're gonna be using this. It's not really a great sample, but it works for what I'm trying to explain. So what we can do now is go ahead and I'll show you how to actually find the BPM of any sample loop that you want to use. All right, so let's just talk about the BPM. Now this is pretty easy because with the tech that we have now, you can just literally stretch the sample to whatever BPM you want, right? But let's just say you want to find the BPM. Well, you can double click, right click in here, let me move this up, and then you can go to detect tempo. Right now, I suggest you go usually about from 75 to 150 and then 100 to 200. So if like we want to have a BPM around 140, you do 100 to 200. But for this one, we could do 75 to 150. And it should give you a pretty accurate, it's not always accurate, but this is over the entire song. And then you would have to delete this and this will give you a somewhat accurate BPM, right? Or if you want, what you could do, right, let's just move it back here. You could delete this, and the reason you delete this is because obviously this is messing up the transients or where they line up on the grid. You can move this back a bit, pull it up, and then you could easily just move around the BPM until all the transients line up on the grid somewhere, right? And we kind of know it's like 90 or around 90, right? All right, so that is something you could do for the BPM. Again, you can always mold the sample to whatever BPM you want, just using like the stretch tool here, right? You can just mold it to whatever you want. All right, so that's the BPM. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so now we need to chop it. Okay, so this is where kind of you will come into play, and you have to figure out what part of your sample you want. But like this one is super basic, and you can probably already see like the patterns. So if you double click, right click, edit in audio editor, this will pop up. Okay, and then from here, I'll make this a little bit larger. You just want to find a chop that you like. Okay, so if you like this beginning part, just make sure you take out this little area right here because that will mess up your loop. Okay, and then basically you want to put this on, and then and you want to just find a good loop. And then we could just pretend that's kind of like a loop, right? You can see how it's looping perfectly, but you want to find one of those somewhere in here. So I'm gonna start probably somewhere over here, and then I might fast forward through this a little bit, but okay, so something like that I'll keep, and then I'll just kind of double that same area, and I think this should be about good right here. Okay, and then what you would do is pretty much just drag it in. Okay, and then you should have a clean little loop here. Okay, and again, this sample is really basic, so you would have a lot more like transients and stuff in here to work with and instruments and stuff, but that should be it for the chop. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you a trick you can do to find the key. So basically all you need to do is just double click whatever sample loop or whatever you have, right click here, and what you want to do is go to the pitch corrector. Now what this is going to do is kind of analyze the loop or sample that you have, and out of all of the notes that are in it, it'll try to figure out what the scale is or it is using, and it automatically does this, right? Now you got to be careful because sometimes it is a machine, it is AI, it's not correct all the time. But for the most part, it will be. So you can see it kind of puts the notes in, the specific note on the keyboard. And you kind of have to know your scales. You got to kind of know how to make a minor scale and a major, because I can see this is in an E minor or a G major, just by the pattern, right? If you look at this pattern here, you can see it is an E minor. Okay, so that is a way we can kind of tell what the scale is, okay? Or you could just kind of look at these notes or come up here and go to scale, and it'll tell you the scale that it's in. So it says G major, or you could flip it and it could be E minor. Okay, but that is where kind of a little bit of music theory comes into play, but not too much. But yeah, that is it. that's how you find the key, and let's move on to actually chopping it up and stuff. All right, so now all we need to do is chop it up. So we take this, double click, right click here, and then you could choose slicer or Slicex. I'm gonna do both, but we're gonna go with slicer first. Let's just close that. And then over here, we have this that pops up. And basically to make this look less ugly, you wanna click this little like cut eraser icon, right? And then click beat. Okay, you could do it smaller, but I think beat is easier to start with. Okay, and then you can reverse things and everything and turn the pitch. And I'm actually turning the pitch up a bit. Okay, and then automatically everything should be dumped into the MIDI or the piano roll. Okay, so we go here now. All right, and this is where you can start to chop things up. You know, if you want to do a bunch of chops, right, stuff like that. And I'm gonna do something super basic, just so we can get the video on. So. Okay, that's good enough. All right, so I'm gonna just play it one time through. All right. Okay, and that's pretty much the basics. And you can obviously go in and do a little bit more. I don't know why I'm in a thirds grid. You know, if you want to add little chops in there, right? If you want to reverse things, you can do that. So that's slicer, and let's move on to Slicex. All right, so here is the last one, which is Slicex. So we double click again, right click, and let's go to Slicex. Now this one looks super complicated, right? Which is good, because if you want to change anything, you can, because you have all these options. But what you want to do first, right, is you want to simplify this area here. So what you want to do is right click over here on this little button, and you want to do medium grid slicing. And what this is going to do is pretty much simplify everything. Just like in a slicer, right? A fruity slicer. So in Slicex, we do this, and now everything is kind of mapped to a key. Okay. So from here, you can kind of chop and do how you like. But what I like to do is delete things to simplify it. So I'm gonna make this a lot larger if I can. Well, I don't think I can, but I'll probably zoom in the editing and stuff. But basically, I just like to choose a part out of this little area. So if you see right here, this is like a full, like one little bar, full bar. And I like to choose something out of this. So maybe this one, I'll choose that one, and then I'll just delete these three. And then from this section, I'll choose one. Delete this, and then over here we could choose one. And for me, I usually choose the one with the most instruments, or like something that sounds interesting. So this one, I like that one the most. And then over here we could choose one. And then this one has like a little swoop, so that'll be good for repeating. So I'll just do most of these. And then you should have a little cool loop now. Okay, and then we can just do that with the rest of these. So delete the ones we don't like, and then through this part, and you gotta make sure you keep an eye on these transients so you know where you are. So that one. And this one has like a swoop again, so I'm gonna keep that one. So now we have a little custom chop loop now. Right, and then with all these parameters up here, you can kind of edit it and go into more detail. But I think that is the gist of it. If you want to go in and chop things up, or if you want to, we could put it in the playlist, or we could drag it in the playlist, right? And you could chop it further, you could add effects and stuff. But I just wanted this video to be on the channel just so people know how to do this, because I am going to start doing sample based videos. And I do not want to have to explain this every single video. So that's why I'm gonna cut it here. And then the next sample video, whatever, we can actually make a beat with it. But hopefully this helped out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.